Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to go over the configuration of Newsboat and just some of the cool things I've discovered and why it is even more powerful than I initially thought, and why I'm now using it to consume basically all of my content that I consume through RSS and through Newsboat and Podboat for my podcasts. So Newsboat has its own configuration file in .config, Newsboat config. And this is mine. It's actually a pretty small configuration file. I've actually added some stuff to it beyond the defaults that came with LARBs. I also added, I have like over 200 and something different RSS feeds in my Newsboat URLs file. I'll show you that in a second. Some of these things are commented out because I don't want them, but I don't want to forget them in case I ever do want them. Auto reload means every time I enter Newsboat, it will refresh no matter what. I do have a cron job going to just refresh it every 30 minutes, but it doesn't hurt. Why not? External URL viewer. This is when I do D menu or Alt L to just have any URL pop up and I can just open that in the browser. And then it has all of these Vim key bindings. These all work exactly how you'd expect. These color commands, this is coloring the Newsboat output. So if I opened Newsboat, it'll load. So all of these colors, the red, the yellow, the black background, the green, the blue, all of those are governed by this. These colors determine the colors of the display. Now these highlight commands, I grabbed these from some Linux YouTuber, I think Glob something, or let me see. I have them in here. In YouTube. Nah. In any case, oh, here it is. Got Blue, Bledu, whatever. Been on YouTube for like 10 years, does a lot of Linux videos, great content. Stole these from his videos on Newsboat, and what these allow you to do is to use your terminal colors. So like I have something I downloaded, I forget where I got this from. If I just do colors, it'll give me a listing of all the terminal colors. These first 15 are the ones that come standard in your, or that come in your, they're your terminal colors. NeoFetch will show you that those are the terminal colors that I have. And then, where did Newsboat go? So the highlight article was actually, this is just the listing of your subscriptions. Now, if I go into these things and I say, I want to go to Luke Smith, I want to see his articles, I want to go into it. Let's get from one that actually has something. These are his YouTube. Oops. Okay, give me a second here. All right, let's do, yeah, these ones. So if I want to go in here, I can, man, none of these are really long. Here we go. All of these special colors, the purple, the yellow, green, all of this is all governed by these highlight commands. Highlight article, then the field and whatever you want, and then it goes foreground, background, and then if you wanted it bold or not. I read through the Newsboat documentation, and it's pretty clear what is laid out, and the documentation is not super difficult to read, so it is worth checking out. These macros, I don't really use too many of these. If I was going to view something in W3M, I could just do "W". What I typically will use the most is "V", because that will actually let me watch my videos in MPV. So if I was going to go to, and here's getting into more of the cool things, I have all of my metadata for my RSS feed, so I have tags. So I can press T, and I have a tag of each different type of content. So I want my YouTube videos. I'm going to go to, why don't we go to good old RStudio? And then here's a link. Okay, cool. I don't want to have to just, Alt L and open this in my browser. The whole point is that we're in the command line. We don't want the browser. Oh my god, Newsboat, stop crashing. So what I want is I want to watch this video on MPV. Tag YouTube or studio, please. And comma V. And this runs sets ID, no hup MPV. And this will open up a really loud video in MPV, which lets me watch all of my videos outside of the browser. And this is awesome for me. So that is how I do all my viewing. Now, if I was going to look at a Reddit feed or something, let's go to Reddit and pick something and comma W to open it in W3M. Well, now I can see, some of the content there. Newsboat is just not happy right now. I have had several people give me suggestions to look into terminal Reddit clients, and then you could easily just change, you could set up some script for running your Reddit posts or your Reddit RSS feeds into that, or just running it as its own separate client instead of Newsboat. You could do that, but what I do is I typically will just say, what's the title? Is it interesting enough for me to open it? We'll see. Open it W3M. Can I see what I need to see? Yes, no. Maybe then open the browser. It depends on how much effort and how much I care. Now, also, I have podcasts. I don't have a lot of podcasts that I follow. So what I do follow, I can easily just say, T, go to my podcasts tag, grab something, grab that, and then I can do E, or Control E. Or, sorry, no, it is E. Yes, just lowercase e. Control E will give it a flag. We'll cover that in a second. But E will actually queue it, and then I can get out of here. You know what? I am tired of you opening your terminals on the bottom. So then I can do podboat for podcasts, and now that queued podcast is there. Now these lines in my Newsboat config say my download path is my downloads folder. The H is for the, I forget exactly what it stands for, like the source or the host, which is like Podbean here. And then N is the actual name of the podcast, which the file is recording, blah, 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 whatever that is. So not a very aesthetic name, but what can you do? I can set my max downloads to 3, so I can have a crap load of stuff queued in here, but I could download only 3 at a time. And then my player is MPD, but it's not going to open in MPD. I haven't figured out all the kinks with this yet, but what I'm doing right now is I can just say capital D to download this podcast. It will. It's pretty fast. It's only 6.5 megs. It is now downloaded and ready. I can do P for play. And it doesn't play in MPD because it just doesn't work. So what I can then do is I can go to VIFM, downloads, there's the folder, there's the podcast. There we go. And I can listen to my podcast that way. All of my content in the terminal. So then let's take a look at my Newsboat URLs. So I have recently put everything in here. I have the original Luke Smith stuff. I have all my Twitter feeds, Reddit feeds, blogs, news, podcasts, things for myself to make sure they're hitting in the right places on my XML documents, some academic journals, my unseemly amount of YouTube subscriptions. Don't look at that. So I have all of these subscriptions. I have all of these tags next to it. This is one of the really cool things about Newsboat is that you can set as many tags as you want arbitrarily. And each tag will come up when you press the T character in Newsboat to give you a list of tags to select from. I am just currently liking I keep my stuff pretty on lock. Like I mark it as unread, I get through my items pretty quickly, and I just don't like to have unread things. So I don't get too crazy with my tags and getting really granular with what I'm talking about in subject matter. So I just leave my tag as like the source of the content: Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, etc. So I can do all of that, and it will come up when I do Newsboat. So I can do T, it'll bring me to my tags, and I can select a tag, and it will only show me content that has that tag. I really enjoy that feature. Now, these ones with the tilde, these are the actual name of the feeds. You notice that none of the feeds I had were these long RSS feed names. The first tag, if it begins with a tilde in the double quotes, will be the name of this feed for you, and you can make it whatever you want. Another really cool thing is that you can flag things with specific flags, and you have a host of characters available to you. And what you can do is you can write these query fields. Camera going weird. These query fields will actually let you flag something, and then we'll put all the flagged items into that feed without actually moving the items. So that way, if you had something like, I want to read these later, but mark everything else as read, or mark them all as read, but I still want to read it later, or whatever your workflow might be, you can actually flag them with this syntax. You can write these queries. I want to say, these are my starred articles, things I don't want to forget about, give it a gold star, or these are my unread things. Well, I don't even have to flag those. I could just say, hey, all unread things go there. And so what does that look like? In Newsboat, I put them at the top because I want these things at the top and accessible. I have my starred items. I only have one, which is an example. And I have unread. I can go in here, and it's a lot of items. I actually need to unsubscribe from our stat tweets because they inundate like crazy. And then I just have this one here as a line. It crashes it, but it's really just so I could visually separate things. But how do we tag items to put it into those? So unread just does its thing. It's just all unread items. But if I'm going to flag something, what you need to do is do Control E. So if I was going to go to this post, I could do Control E, and you can see down here in the command, wrong direction, it's saying flags. Now I could give this the S flag, which is what my flag is right now for the star folder. Give it a flag S. Now it has that flag. I can do Q. Let me zoom back out. Q, go to starred, and there's the post. Now if I go into it, I read it, I'm done with it, I can easily just do Control E, backspace, enter, and remove that flag. Now if I go back, come back out to starred, go back in, it's gone. An easy way of flagging your content. Now you can easily make as many flags as you want with letters of the alphabet, numbers, whatever you want, and make this work for you. So that is what I've done to configure Newsboat, Podboat, get my content in here, review my content, consume my content. I just think this is an amazing program. I highly recommend you check this out. It is changing how I consume content. And because I can just get it all done, read it, get it out of the way, it's in the terminal, it's quick, and I don't get distracted or sucked down a hole of, recommendation algorithms, I tend to be a little bit more focused, and I can go and do other different things after I'm done with this, as long as I'm not distracted by messing with configuration files on my system. So do check out Newsboat. It is fantastic, and let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, you can easily get all of my configuration stuff here on my dot files on GitHub. And yeah, have fun.